On this episode of Star Trek Universe, we are talking about the first 3 episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 3. Right after these words from our mystery sponsors. Welcome to Star Trek Universe, the podcast where you get to listen in while 2 lifelong friends discuss their love of Star Trek. My name is Matthew Carroll.
I am David C. Robertson.
David C. Robertson. I would ask how you're doing, but we've been recording for about an hour already. So I feel like musky. I got a little musky. Is that from the recording time?
Just sitting in the chair.
Been building up. Yeah. Little swamp ass.
Yeah. A little bit of swamp ass.
I got to get a better, more comfortable chair for when I'm recording here. I've got an office chair, but it's so creaky that when I use it, like it's just terrible for editing. So I'll bring that in here when I'm editing, but like not when I'm recording. And when I'm recording, I am so uncomfortable because I'm sitting on like a wooden kitchen chair, just sitting on my legs for hours like that is terrible.
Yeah. I got a new chair a few months ago.
Nice.
A couple months ago.
I've got a new one in my office at my house, but when I'm staying here at my mom's, I've kind of got like the second of everything from my house, like the old version. Like I brought my old chair over here, and I've got this like folding table instead of a desk, and I've just kind of everything's. Even my recording setup is like the secondary one that I use when I'm traveling. So
it still has like the Klingon Ridge dildo coming up from the seat.
What?
I don't know why you do the things you do.
Is that a reference to Burn After Reading?
I have been watching a lot of Cohen stuff lately.
Oh man, I keep meaning to. I watched they have those. What is it? Vanity Fair does those interviews where they like interview someone and they talk about all of their biggest roles. They break down their biggest roles, and they had one with Jeff Bridges, and he was just obviously talking about the dude, but then he talked about other times he's worked with the Coen brothers, and I was like, I haven't even seen all of those. I need to get in there and see them.
Yeah, actually, HBO Max has Blood Simple right now, which is their first film.
Yes, I've never seen it. He talked about that one.
It is good.
Sweet.
It's bad, but it's also kind of good. Like about halfway through, you kind of realize like, oh, they're just putting everything they like into this one film because they might not get another shot.
Right. Yeah. So it's a little overstuffed, but good.
Well, overstuffed and poorly edited and clearly doesn't have a budget, but
right.
It helps knowing where they go from there.
Yeah. The other one I haven't seen is not There Will Be Blood. But what about the little girl and Jeff Bridges? Where they're on the revenge fantasy? Where the little girl,
it's old like man?
No.
Is that the new thing? What are you talking about?
No, it's the little girl comes to Jeff Bridges and pays him to be. He's like playing a role that was played by John Wayne or something like that.
Oh, True Grit.
Thank you. Gosh, I could not remember.
Yeah.
Again, blaming on COVID brain. True Grit. I still haven't seen that, and I've been
I haven't either.
Forever. I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Yeah, I missed out on a lot of the newer things, and then like I skipped a bunch of stuff like Old Country for Old Men and A Simple Man and True Grit, and then I watched Hail Caesar, which I enjoyed, but for completely different reasons.
Yeah,
than I would assume I would like those. Anyway,
yeah, they've made a lot of stuff that I've missed too, so need to do that sometime. There's a podcast called the Coen Brothers.
Oh,
I think it's called. It's like 2 friends that are watching Coen Brothers movies together.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
That's fun. Did you realize that Frances McDormand is married to Joel Coen?
No, I did not.
Like Blood Simple, that is where they met in 1984. And I guess 1983 is when they shot it, but she only brought 1 book to read while they were shooting. And then she like ran out of material. She finished the book and she asked him, do you have any book recommendations? And the next day he brought her like a box full of books and told her to read The Postman Comes Twice or whatever. And she was like, oh, that was so hot and amazing, And like, then I asked him to come over to my place where I was staying and talk about literature. She's like, he seduced me with literature.
It's amazing. That's awesome. Okay, we should get to this Lower Decks. You want to? How about? We have synopsises of these. You want to?
No.
Okay. I thought it'd be an easy way to get in. Well, we can do it really quickly. Let's go episodic. Starting with episode 1, we've got basically the 4 Lower Deckers are trying to save the captain, and they venture to Montana to get the like whatever carnival ride that is the
Phoenix Carnival ride, yeah.
And try to save the mother. What did you think?
I really enjoyed it. I really liked the Montana stuff because it followed through on stuff that Geordi was saying to Zephram Cochrane.
Yeah, I love that.
In First Contact, about how it's basically like just like a big tourist attraction and stuff now.
It's like what makes him run away when he realizes.
You told him about the statue?
Right where there's a statue, right where you're standing now. You told him about the statue?
Yeah. So I enjoyed all of that, and I really enjoyed the fact that it was just like Mariner was like, yeah, I'm going to do this because you're not doing enough. And then they're like, dude, it's all been resolved without your help, whatsoever. Like, I told you.
It was a true Lower Deckers episode because, like, you know, they think they're going to do a big thing. And you do too. Like, you're watching the episode and you're like, all right, they're going to do something to save her. They're going to get the thing, the files they need or whatever. And then it turns out they're just like, yeah, we told you to trust the system. Come on, just trust the system. And the whole answer to the episode was just trust. And I love the description of the off camera plot that happened where they're like, she says, it was a big reveal.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's very enjoyable. I love that James Cromwell came back to do Cochrane too.
Yeah, how cool was that?
Yeah, I really enjoyed all of it.
I like when Rutherford jumped up. He's like, "Sorry, Mr. Cochrane," like turned him off. And Gavin, I really like Gavin a lot.
What was Gavin?
Gavin was the guy who was like didn't want to. He was on the spacecraft with them when they took off.
Yes, yeah.
I just loved it so much because he's like, no, I'm not a. What is he? I forget what he even was. He's like, no, I'm not a tourist anymore. I'm a pilot now. And he jumps in the cockpit and takes off. He's like, all right, have fun, Gavin. Have fun self-actualizing. And I think Boimler says something like, I don't think that's the last we'll see of him. And they know it won't be. Like, he's going to show up like, you know, later this season and be, you know, he's going to be like their Khan or something, I feel like.
Yeah, maybe so. That'd be fun. I really enjoyed like Boimler's Grape Vineyard.
Oh yeah.
And all the ladies who are like, want to test the sweetness of my bushel.
And he just gives them very matter-of-fact answers. It's so good. You need to leave them in the sun for 3 more days.
Yep. I liked the old guy, Denny, the old security guard.
Yeah.
He was a lot of fun. Like, it was just all in all a pretty enjoyable episode of Lower Decks. Most of them are, though.
Yeah, no, I haven't had a bad time.
Rutherford was wearing like straight up a freaking Jake Sisko sweater.
Yeah, exactly.
And says my shirt could be a little more asymmetrical.
And they go to Sisko's, man.
Yes, they do.
They go get some Cajun food from Sisko's. That's just fun. Like, it's just great little connections. Great overall thematically. It's funny when they're like trying to deal with the little I don't know, space pink animals that are like having orgy on their hull. Just always fun. So always fun. Great.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. All right. Should we move on to another episode?
Yeah, let's keep moving. I know we would normally get a little more into the details of all the jokes, but I know we're trying to do 3 today. Talk about 3.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, we did find out in this episode that Boimler dyes his hair purple.
Yes.
And that no one knows his real hair color.
Yeah.
Just a little weird thing that they threw in there.
Hmm.
And I'm starting to wonder, is he asexual? Because they kind of hinted at, they were hinting at that one dude who was, and then it turned out that he was he didn't want to have sex because if he did, he'd have to go back to his planet and become king.
That's right.
So, but now I'm starting to wonder, like, so many people have shipped Mariner and Boimler, and now it's turned out that, she's in this pseudo relationship with this Andorian girl.
Sexy Andorian.
Which I never got, like, the Boimler Mariner, will they, won't they? Either anyway, but
I mean, yeah, I think there's just a little bit of like
there's an expectation. It's like we've been,
but I'm seeing that way more with it's getting a little problematic.
Rutherford and Tendi.
Oh, Rutherford and Tendi for sure. But I'm thinking of oh gosh, her second in command, the second in command.
Oh, yeah, I know. And Ransom.
Yeah, Ransom and Mariner have had a lot of like little like sort of sex things that they've sort of like this episode he was doing squats. I think this next one was the mining episode. He was doing squats and she's just staring at his ass. Every time he does a squat, she's just staring. They've done a lot of that stuff where she's like, I'm very impressed with you and stuff like that. But now he's her commanding officer, so that could get a little weird.
Yeah.
He's always been her commanding officer, but
Yeah, he was always. We can move on to 302, the least dangerous game.
Yeah.
JG Herlitzer or Hertzlitzer. I can't say his name. Hertzler. He came back as Martok.
Yeah.
Albeit a Quark programmed hologram of Martok. But
he Ferengi programmed hologram.
Yeah.
So silly.
I loved that.
Yeah, man.
That was fantastic. And it reminded me of those old games that we used to play like in the 90s, it was like the old Ghoul, the Gatekeeper or whatever. And you had the VHS tapes. Did you ever play those games? Like you had the board game, the VHS tapes. And they you kind of do it with CNET and stuff, but
yeah, for sure. There's like DVD versions too. Yeah, man, I like this episode. It's basically Boimler. Well, one of the things that was interesting, I felt like this was Boimler's plot was the B plot, which I feel like normally Boimler has the A plot in most episodes, and Boimler was like left on the ship by himself being hunted.
I don't know, I feel like Mariner gets the A plot a lot.
She gets it sometimes, but I feel like normally Boimler's with her or around her.
Yeah.
But this time, or like having another sort of plot that sort of intersects with hers, this one was like leave Boimler on the ship and give him the B plot, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah. I was excited because I was like, finally someone did Jim Carrey's Yes Man the right way.
That's what I was going to say. They did Yes Man.
But I just enjoyed the hell out of it. Like, I love the Crunch or whatever his name was. Yep. He was so, and he's like, he's hunting me, and the captain's like, oh, he's so charming.
Yeah,
we had brunch,
I just loved it. Not on my ship. And then he's like, oh, Crunch. He just took me to lunch. And then he's like, thanks for the mimosas. And then continues the hunt.
Yeah. I love that he just wanted the selfie with the spear through him.
Yeah. One more for the guys.
He's like giving him hunting advice. He's like, when you decide to fight back, you don't announce it and just stand there. You have to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hunted always tries to become the hunter.
Yeah. I love that the Vendome guy wound up becoming went from basically ensign to captain, and Boimler's complaining about it. He's like, he was the guy that gets hit with a spear on away missions, and which was a nice foreshadowing to him getting hit with a spear and that being how he was taken down.
Yeah, totally.
But also a nice reference to the JJ Kirk, who went from cadet to captain.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. It also, I guess there's two big references to JJ Trek in this episode with the...
yes. With the orbital lift.
Yeah, the orbital lift / skydiving scene.
Yes, which was, I loved that he was basically like, oh yeah, we'll do your thing. And she's like, shit.
He has to climb back up the stairs.
Oh my god, she's got all the way back. And when they jump the second time, she's asleep.
Yeah.
She's just sleeping in free fall. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, there definitely did seem to be some kind of sexual tension between them in this episode.
They've done that a few times in a lot of episodes where they have to interact. And now that he's her primary commanding officer or whatever, now he's like fully over her instead of her mother. Like, I think there's going to be some things happening there.
Mm-hmm. But there might be, but then in the next episode, her big fantasy is the Andorian woman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I believe she likes that Andorian woman. Leah Brahms. You want to just move to 333-3? Anything else on 3.2?
Let me take a quick glance here. Okay, I loved the AI computer, Psychic Baby, and Sentient Volcano.
Yeah.
I love that they called it out as overkill.
Yeah, everything. It provides us a balance of power. A system of checks and balances.
I wish I had a photographic memory because I can't remember what the sentient computer looked like, but I fully expect we'll wind up seeing it in that warehouse, that freaking Indiana Jones warehouse full of sentient computers we saw previously.
Oh yeah.
On Lower Decks.
Oh, that would be rad.
Yeah. And then for a second I was like, is it Jeffrey Combs?
This is a little overcomplicated. It provides a system of checks and balances. That's my favorite line of the episode, maybe. But the stuff with really Rutherford and that engineer down on the planet trying to deal with the people and with their wellness-based lifestyle. It's like, is this one of those, are we going to one of those planets where they just run around half naked all the time? Well, it is wellness-based. Their culture is wellness-based.
When they referred to Ransom's arms as volcano tubes, it was already great, but then I was a part of that Sean Ray's that Star Trek podcast on Cosmic Potato or Infinite Potato, and John Irons from Captain Game Show mentioned that he thought that was a Rick and Morty reference to when they were talking about cum gutters.
Wait, what does he call them? Volcano
tubes, or lava tubes. Sorry.
Lava tubes. Oh yeah. Well, that term from Rick and Morty is not just from Rick and Morty. That's a normal term for that, which is
I know.
But yes, that does seem like it's a reference to that term.
Yeah, it was fun because he was trying not to say cum. He was
John Irons was.
Yeah,
That's
he was
hilarious.
it was something gutters, and I was like, is there abs? But there's something gutters. I was like, is that like cum gutters?
That's awesome. I got to meet John Irons from Captain Game Show.
Did you?
He was at Dragon Con, so I got to go.
Cool, man.
Got to have lunch with him for one of the days.
How was he in real life?
Terrible.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he's so friendly on the internet, but then you meet him, he's just a total asshole. He's just pushing people over as we walk through. He was ripping wings off cosplays.
Yeah, that's rough.
And bugs.
So you're saying I would actually like to hang out?
No,
with him?
you guys would hit it off. It's like mirror version of John Irons. No, he was awesome. It was great.
Yeah, I like John.
Me too.
All right, well, we can jump over to 303, Mining the Mines.
Yeah.
And I love the dude who's obsessed with Ransom.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like he had the best lines this episode. No, his stand-up is more raw, unfiltered take on dating and mating. Or the best thing, it probably just makes a real big fantasy, right? Watch out, giant ham sandwich incoming.
I loved the crazy fantasy and nightmare stuff. I really, really enjoyed Borg snakes or whatever they were running around.
Oh yeah, I love the Borg snake, but my favorite was the Klingon clowns with batleth arms.
Yep, that was about to say that was my favorite as well.
Yeah,
but then they were like, yeah, I liked the how they were remembering little details, and that's what cued them in. Yeah, the whole episode, it's a lot of fun, and it's tightly written too. Like with the they're dealing with that and up on the plane, like it actually was a mystery story, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and it like kind of paid off in the way that a good Star Trek episode will, which Lower Decks does sometimes, and sometimes it's just a joke fest, you know? And this was one that kind of felt a little more like it was just tightly written. I liked it.
Yeah, I loved that, you know, the asshole crew, the asshole Lower Deckers who wound up being like big fans of the Cerritos, and we're just
yeah.
I liked that.
No, my favorite joke of the whole episode, probably all 3 episodes. I love this joke when she's like, yeah, you guys are just like the stories. And like, really? Well, except for Boimler. In most of the stories, he's a sentient robot.
He's a tiny cube. I thought he was a cube.
He's like, I thought he might be a tiny cube. And then Tendi says, he's like, I'm people or something like that.
Please tell them I'm people.
But then Tendi says, "Oh, beep boop boop. Boimler wants to be a people," or something like that. I don't know. It's so good.
Yeah, I love the the data mining aspect of the episode. Like, I love that the scientists and the rock people were like trying to sell Starfleet information.
Yeah, super great twist.
And I love when the captain was like, yeah, they were going to buy more equipment for science, and the rock people were going to buy more rocks.
They were going to get more rocks, which doesn't make any sense, but I liked how I like the rock people being like, it's only silicon-based life to you. It's just life to us. You don't seem alive to us.
Oh my god, one of my favorite things was like them calling out, like, because Boimler kept having that admiral driving that like hover cycle around with the frickin' sidecar, and Mariner's like, even in your fantasies you can't drive, and he goes, driving is scary, I'm a natural passenger. The bird guy who's mentoring Tendi. He says, it's one of my favorite kinds of jokes. There are really a lot of sciences out there. Too many, if you ask me.
Oh, dude. Something I hadn't noticed, and I feel like it's been in other stuff, but I noticed it as I was watching this episode. Did you notice the koala in the opening?
I didn't notice it in the opening, but I noticed that they mentioned it. Like
twice,
someone mentioned.
I think they mentioned the koala twice.
Did they?
Yeah. Yeah, but one of them is a guy at the bar. I can't remember what the second one was. One of them's at the bar. He's like, no, I definitely, if I was dead for 10 minutes, then why did I see a koala in a something like...
Yeah. That's the one I remember.
But no, there's the one I'm talking about is in every episode. There's that, you know, that new intro they have, which I thought it was in previous seasons or it was on Prodigy or something. But you know, that very beginning, it's like, before it actually does the cold opening, they have that thing where the Cerritos just goes zoof, and there's like rainbow colored warp trail.
Yeah, it changes based on the ship.
There's like sort of interstellar clouds in the background, but if you look, there's clearly a koala cloud that has like 2 stars for eyes, and it's like clearly a koala. It's pretty great.
Oh my god, I love that they're leaning into the koala thing.
Yeah.
Like, if they start doing that in the live action shows, I'm going to be so happy.
Oh man. That would be, if a koala ever gets mentioned in the afterlife in Star Trek other than this, it would be very cool.
Like, I want the koala. I want the Black Mountain where you have to face your father.
Yeah.
I want the whole thing. Like, no, let's make Lower Decks really canon. Like, super canon.
Let's over-canonize it.
Let's over-canonize it.
Oh, man. Well, I know we haven't been as in depth today with our Lower Decks talk, but
yeah,
they were great episodes. I'm sorry we couldn't get to them sooner, and I know we hit with, for those of you who have not caught this, just so it's at 7 seconds. So if you go watch that, it's at 7 seconds. There might be an ad or something, but after the actual episode starts, at 7 seconds, the koala is clearly visible.
All right,
but I'd really we'll be back next week and actually do one episode of Lower Decks as an episode of the podcast, because I can't wait to talk more about it.
One, I have to mention the quote, "I think I pulled my dominant groin."
I love that
line. 2, Stu Little has sent us feedback for the last couple of episodes. Oh, okay. I believe. Well, if you'd like to talk about those, if you don't,
let's do it. Let's go for it.
Okay.
I don't want to miss out on some Stu Little goodness.
Yeah. Stu Little says, it would be illogical to not play on it. And says, hey, just going to get my main negative out of the way first. We're in season 3 now. After the gains in his character the last 2 years, I think we can leave Butt Monkey Boimler behind. He can still be true to his uptight ways, but I don't think we need to see so much dumb stuff like him being oblivious to women hitting on him, not being able to handle hot sauce, and worse, the sniffing the captain's chair thing, which was a new low. No, I liked it.
Yeah, none of that bothered me. And particularly him not noticing the girls are hitting on him. That was one of my favorite things.
I will say that I feel like while it is aggravating to see regression in character development, people can have revelations and then regress the next day. I do it all the time.
Sure. But also, I mean, like, not that he hasn't grown at all, but I mean, has he had like really huge epiphanies that like changed him, or has he just had like little things here and there?
Well, like, for instance, in the second episode of this season, he said that he was going to be Bold Boimler. And then, like, the third episode, he was not at all.
Right.
He was right back to normal.
But, I mean, Bold Boimler did kind of learn his lesson about being bold.
Yeah, but he said he was going to continue being bold.
Yeah.
Stu continues, sometimes the writing's treatment of him goes beyond being kind of a commentary on the typical TNG-era type over-eager ensigns and feels pretty mean-spirited. Would have much rather had more jokes about Mariner not knowing about basic Earth things. I liked just the amount that we had of that. Like, I don't know. I like Boimler and the way they treat him.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Me too.
Then again, I'm one of these guys who also never minded that Family Guy started really harping on Meg a lot.
Right.
Stu continues, acting like we were maybe getting a season long or at least multi-part story about proving the captain's innocence, only to anticlimactically have it all solved off screen was genuinely funny and in character for the show, but I do feel like maybe it makes making it a bigger cliffhanger last year a bit questionable as it built it up. Though getting back to regular duties means the full crew are more available for stories.
Yeah, I think that's the fact that they made it a cliffhanger. Like, I love that that's part of the joke. The fact that they made a like end of season cliffhanger was all feeding into us thinking it was going to be a multi-episode arc, and then it just isn't, and it solves off screen. I think that's beautiful.
Also, Mike McMahon is a huge TNG fan, and as we all know, whenever they did a season cliffhanger, the second part always sucked. So, you know, it feels like almost a reference to that, I think, in some way.
It's funny.
More of Mariner's dad, please. We've seen so little of him interacting with her compared to her mother, and there's still a lot of questions about Beckett he could be involved in answering, like why she's not called Freeman. How come everyone who went to Starfleet Academy seemingly went to the San Francisco one and not any of the satellite campuses that supposedly exist on other planets? That would feel kind of fitting to the lower decks ethos of the crew being considered second class, especially if there was like a community college equivalent to the Academy. I don't want community college equivalent to the Academy after all the big deal they made over Wesley Crusher joining the Academy and TNG. But I wouldn't mind seeing not San Francisco.
Yeah, I didn't even realize there were satellite campuses.
I mean, you hear about it from time to time, but They're usually so stuck up their own ass with showing Boothby, in a garden somewhere. Like, you got to talk to Boothby. The First Contact references were great, and I think holograms are a perfect plot device to allow this show to have cameos of Star Trek alumni characters with the freedom to make them more comedic.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Jellicoe's an admiral now, and I, for one, am happy about that, or happy for him. The man beat the Cardassians and got Picard back, and anyone who dislikes him after that is just ungrateful. Overall, it was a pretty novel opener and a solid start to the season. So that was the first episode, I guess.
All right.
About it specifically. I didn't even catch the Jellicoe thing.
No, I didn't either.
I know Jellicoe from TNG, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
He
I didn't hear...
Famously told Troy to not wear pajamas on the bridge.
Yeah, but no, I just didn't hear the other part. That he's been made an admiral.
He's got the other two here in this email. Dr. Meagly Mo, all my homies hate Dr. Meagly Mo. More Lower Decks thoughts. Episode 2, good A&D plots this week, and despite being a screaming coward for a lot of it, Boimler actually came out ahead by impressing the Hunter and Freeman. I also like the interaction between him and Tendi, and the one encouraging him to be more bold. Also interesting detail in one scene where she's comfortable wearing a towel around him after getting out of the shower. Do you think that's meaningful? It could go back to his asexuality that I am now theorizing.
It could.
Yeah. I kind of ship the two of them, as she's arguably like the female version of him with her wonder at Starfleet stuff. She just doesn't get bullied for it by Mariner like he does for some reason. Nah, man, I ship her and Rutherford. Riffing on the Star Trek VCR board game was a great call too. I may be overthinking it, but Boimler remarking that his shoulder won't ever be the same again after the injury is possibly a setup as a distinguishing feature should the other Boimler return at some point. That's a really good call. I did not even consider that.
Interesting.
There is another Boimler out there. I forgot about it.
Oh, yeah. Actually. No, I was thinking about him recently.
Stu continues. Episode 3, another decent one. And I like the way the minds affected everyone, though we arguably could have had a more dramatic tone if they'd been depicting fantasies and fears of a more substantial nature. Also felt kind of weird for the twist to be the other crew felt intimidated by the Cerritos when their behavior towards them when they first met conveyed the exact opposite. They're overcompensated, man.
Yeah.
Boimler also got to save Mariner from one of the constructs, though it kind of goes unacknowledged, and the episode ends with people making fun of him for his humiliating reputation. Sigh. Also, I have to say, I do not enjoy Dr. Meagly Mo as a character, largely because I hate this sort of humor of a character resembling an animal, so they do animal things. Nah, man, I watch all sorts of BoJack Horseman. Donna bugs me with that too, but she actually has the crabby personality getting more focused. Meagly Mo just feels like a waste of Paul F. Tompkins to me. Also, it feels to me like Tendi and the away teams exposing the plot is the sort of thing that might secure a commendation or even a minor promotion or two, not the Starfleet equivalent of a pizza party. Maybe. We don't know.
Yeah, I really want to like Meagly Mo a lot, but so far, like, I love Paul F. Tompkins, one of my favorite comedians, one of my favorite podcasters, and so far I have not been as impressed. Like, I almost feel like they should let him riff a little more, because his delivery is always so good, but there's something to be desired in, like, the writing for his character, I feel like.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that he is a character, that Meagly Mo is a character, and then I see him and I'm like, oh yeah, what does he do again? Sometimes he's on the bridge and I don't know why. And I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what his deal is.
But whatever. And Stu says, the Picard final season teaser was nice, even if it's a little odd that all the we need a ship, let's get a ship, we'll get a ship build up leads to the Titan and not the Enterprise. So I guess it sounds like he agrees with you, kind of. It would have also been funny if, given how long Klingons live and Michael Dorn is in a lot of prosthetics anyway, they tried to make him look as young as he did last time we saw him. In fact, after all those times he got his ass beat and was denied the chance to kick ass in TNG, I hope he's regularly doing physically strenuous stuff in front of the rest of them to rub in the aging. I agree.
Nice.
I agree with that bit.
Yeah.
I think it would be nice to just have him, like, kicking ass, John Wicking all over the place, instead of pointing his phaser at a view screen.
Yeah, 100%.
Being the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
Even though I always laughed.
Oh, yeah, sure. It's good stuff, but it's looking back and how often he gets just like told no and how he's overreacting or whatever. It would be nice to see a little more badass in the Worf character.
Yeah, but one of my favorite lines of TNG is still Q saying, Mr. Worf, eat any good books lately?
So funny. Is that all?
Yeah, that's it. That's all we got.
All right. Well, Bud, thanks for podcast with me. We'll do this again.
You're welcome.
And hopefully we won't have as much backlog because it won't get so late and I won't get so sleepy.
Yeah, man. That's cool.
Shall untrue.
Live long and come gutters.
Just keep circling. Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe Podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.